Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. For those joining me on archive, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Take a moment, thumbs up the video, and hit that bell button, that notification button. That way you're notified every time D-Style comes on live. Let me do a sound check really quick. And hit that bell button, that notification button. That way you're notified every time D-Style comes on. Yeah, there we go. Sounds good. All right. Need to do that sound check, man. I know it's been a few times, but I've come on here and it's just the whole thing's horrible, right? So I do a whole video and then 30 minutes later, hey man, the sound is all choppy. Like what? It's choppy. Like, damn, I didn't know that. So there we go. I know I'm kind of late on this. I mean, it is a Thursday and the fight was on a Saturday, but that's all right. Canelo fought a Aaron Rodgers lookalike. I think it was just as tall as Aaron Rodgers. Word has it, it was Aaron Rodgers, you know, and he's trying to become a two-sport athlete. But anyway, in all seriousness, Rocky Fielding got his ass whipped by Canelo. Canelo proved he was a much better, superior boxer, and he had he just hurt him to the body, man. He broke him down, and he broke his will. And Rocky Fielding looked like he didn't want to be there after half a round. He looked like he didn't want to be there, and I think he just mentally checked out after a few rounds, and he was done after a little bit, you know. Finally, Canelo put him out of his misery in the third round. So I told you guys it was a mismatch. It was. I told you guys Canelo would win by stoppage. He did. I told you there's really no reason to tune in. We already know what's going to happen. And it did. We already knew. Foregone conclusion. But some of you, for some reason, like to watch people hunt deers in cages. That's what you like to watch. If that's what you're into, that's fine. I want to see lions fight. I want to see bulls fight. I want to see competitive fights. That's what I want. But that's me, you know. Maybe some of you guys are into just knowing your favorite fighter is going to win. It lets you sleep better at night. I really don't know what it is. Okay. I don't know what it is. No, but Rocky Fielding, he's tall. So what if he's tall? You all knew what was going to happen. Everybody did. Everybody knew what was going to happen in that fight. Everybody. Some of you just like to pretend that it's a challenge because you like to feel comfortable that your fighter is not going to be challenged. We got Danny Jacobs out here saying he's next, that he's like 90% sure that he's next. In boxing, if you're not 100% sure, then it doesn't matter, right? That is numero uno. Okay? Number one rule in boxing, if you're not 100% sure, and even if you are 100% sure, it don't mean shit till contracts are signed. Right? So I'm not going to take anyone's word for anything. But that's that. Anyway, this was also Canelo's first fight on DAZN. That's DAZN. It was in Madison Square Garden. I will admit it was fun to actually see a fight in the Garden. It's a great atmosphere in the Garden. We need more boxing fights in the Garden. You know, it's not that I have an issue with not Oakland. I almost said Oakland. with Brooklyn. Not that I have an issue with Brooklyn, and not that I have an issue at all with that, right? The Barclays Center. But, and I still think the Barclays Center should have fights. Don't get me wrong. But we need fights at the Garden again, right? We need Madison Square Garden back in the mix. It's good for boxing when you have fights in the Garden. With that said, the atmosphere was good. That's fine. The fight was shit, right? But it was a predictable fight. Well, what are we going to do, right? But everybody kind of knew. Some can argue, look, Canelo, he fought Gennady Golovkin. He could have easily just not fought till May. I get all that, but it doesn't take away the fact that the fight's shit, right? Anyway, so that's I just wanted to mention that, credit where it's due, right? And it also shows that Canelo can sell out a stadium in Las Vegas, not a arena in Las Vegas. He can sell out an arena in the West Coast, in the East Coast, the West Side, the East Side, the Mid Side, the whole side, right? Obviously, he can sell out an arena or anything over there in Mexico. The kid's a megastar in terms of gate. There's no doubt about that. Unless Floyd Mayweather Jr. comes back from retirement, there is no fighter that beats Canelo at the gate right now in the world. He's the best bar none when it comes to that. And domestically in the U.S., there's no fighter, not that would beat him in pay-per-view, but he's not pay-per-view anymore. He's not. That's not what Canelo is. Now he's app. He's about the zone. So how did the zone do? So I kept reading reports, these very misleading reports. All right. Regular militant in the house. Larry Merchant, the non-real Larry Merchant in the house. What's up, guys? How did this do, right? So there is something that was said that is technically true, but then when you look into it, it's not as impressive as it sounds, right? So the one thing that was said was DAZN was the #1 free app, right, in the world, that day when Canelo fought. Now, when you read that, you're like, what? What do you mean it's the #1 free app? Like, what? Oh, it beat Facebook and Instagram, and it beat Snapchat and Twitter, and I'm like, what? What do you mean it beat all these apps? Like, that doesn't even sound right, right? It sounds like it was made up. Well, obviously, what they meant was that day more people downloaded DAZN on, what day was that? The 15th. More people downloaded DAZN on the 15th of December than downloaded any other free app. That's what that means. Now, I'm not downplaying that. If they just left it at that, that's fine. But you have to think about it. Like, Facebook already has billions of users. So, the fact that it's still in the top 10 downloads is astonishing, right? Now, keep in mind, after the 15th, DAZN was no longer on top of the list, right? So we just need to put that in perspective, right? So that day, yes, and I'm not saying they shouldn't say that, but let's not make it sound like it's not. It doesn't make it the #1 free app out there, right? That's not what that means. That's not what that means at all, right? To put it in perspective, it's kind of like a new artist coming out today, and it's the first day of sales, right? And they sell, 18,000 copies, right? In one day, let's just, for example, and then somebody says, man, it sold more than Pearl Jam's 10 album. This is crazy. Like, well, Pearl Jam's 10 album already has over 10 million sold. So that's why it only sold like 300 that day or whatever, you know. So I'm just saying, okay, it just depends on how you kind of look at it. So what that does tell us is that there was some traction, right? There was, in fact, you know, people that downloaded the app with the intent of watching the Canelo fight. That's not a bad thing for DAZN, right? So that has to be said. But when I hear people saying dumb things like, oh, 26 million people downloaded the app, that is simply not true. That is not true. It's not even close to being true. And not only is it not true, you can easily look at the information, right? So number one, and this is on Google Play, right? Google Play is easily more than 1/3 of all users that download, right? So I just want to make sure people understand that. I mean, close to 40% of people that download all this shit. Because, of course, you have Amazon, you have Apple, right? But a big chunk of that is Google Play. DAZN has over 5 million downloads in its history since the Joshua fight, since before that, when DAZN first came out. All right, there's been people downloading DAZN since it first came out. So it's not all 5 million came from just Canelo. It already had millions. So I want people to understand that. So even if you give them the complete benefit of the doubt, let's say 1 million people downloaded the app, that get added let's say 2 million. 2 million from Google Play, 2 from Apple. It's not going to be, but let's just for the sake of argument, let's give them 2 for Amazon. That's 6 million downloads, which it did not do, by the way. But that's definitely 20 million short of the crap I'm hearing. All right? It's 20 million. I mean, that's far, right? That's like me telling you to go to the 7-Eleven down the corner, but you instead go all the way to New York. I'm here in Texas, right? That's how far off you are. Even with my inflated numbers. Even with that, you're still far off. And I gave you easily a 3 million extra, right? And go to 7-Eleven down the corner. 24 hours. What the fuck does this do that? I'm 10 states down. Like what? I sent you to the 7-Eleven. But anyway, some of you guys are that far off. It's astonishing. You're not the next town, off. You're 10 states off. You're 20 million plus, like 23 million downloads off. Now, what I also want people to understand is DAZN is free for a month. FREE, free. DAZN is free to download, so people have the opportunity to watch it for free. And they're bragging about how this was top 10 on Twitter's trending. Top 10? You were giving away the fight for free. Like, but you expect me to believe that 26 million people downloaded the app. You expect me to believe that? From where? It's impossible. Like, I don't know where people are getting these numbers from. So one, they came out and they over exaggerated the whole. Oh man, we're the #1 free app. No, you're not. You were the most downloaded on the 15th of December against apps that already have tens of millions, hundreds of millions, some over 1 billion users already. 9 out of 10 people listening to this right now already have Facebook. There's not a lot of room for Facebook to add users, right? The Zone only had like 3.5 million, downloads on Google Play. It adds let's say 1 million people downloading the app is impressive. Let's say we say that. Well, it is. But it's to watch the fight for free. Now, how many are going to stick around when it's time to fork out the $9.99 and they already saw the fight? They might say, you know what, I'll be back when Canelo fights again. When Canelo fights again, more than half. That's the answer. Watch. You already gave him the fight. Well, what do you think's going to happen? As soon as it's time to fork out the $9.99, all right, on the 15th of January, what do you think they're going to do? I'm out. Canelo ain't going to fight for a couple more months, and I don't even know who he's fighting yet. Peace. So this was a free fight that we're giving away, plus whoever's already subscribed to the Zone. Now let's talk about the actual app itself, all right? I mean, the negative reviews on it is astonishing. Now, somebody say, well, look, yes, 3.5 stars average. That's horrible. That's horrible. Just the other day, there was an update that they got rid of some bugs like 2 days ago. Admitting it had bugs. For everybody saying, there's no problem with the Zone. The Zone is perfect. Oh, yeah? Well, why are they fixing bugs if it's perfect? Now, granted, let's say, hey, but these stuff calm down. Everything, like anything else, once they fix it, it'll be a non-issue, right? But these stuff, you understand, once they fix this shit, it'll be a non-issue, these stuff. Look, no. All right. Let's talk about the Zone itself. Let's talk about the app, okay? Because everybody thinks this thing's going to take over. All right. I mean, the concept of the Zone, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. It just, in order for it to quote unquote be the future, it's about 10 to 15 years too early right now. People are going to look back and be like, man, the Zone came out a little too early with this idea. You can bet on that shit. But what do you mean? Well, first of all, in order for you to use the Zone, you need to have an internet connection that you already pay for. Okay, that's what people need to understand, right? And if you want to use it reliably, you need to have a speed that's good for that, which means you have to fork out more money for internet. If you want to stream, you got to pay for more adequate internet, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. The other thing, half, at least in the U.S., half of the country lives in rural America. Some of them don't even have internet, right? Much less reliable internet, okay? In some areas, the only way you could get internet is by dial-up, or you're not going to watch the Zone on fucking dial-up. Yes. Okay, America's AOL also has about 2 or 3 million viewers, 2 million users, all right? So, and they use it for email and stuff like that, okay? And then of course, you have satellite internet. Well, that's not reliable. Nobody wants to use satellite internet. Plus, you only get like 10 gigs. You watch one fight, you're out of internet for the rest of the month. All right? So half of the country, right off the bat, cannot watch the Zone. It's impossible, even if they want it. So how about the other half? Right? Even people that do have internet, if they live so much, there's people that live in the outskirts of the cities that do have internet, but it's just not as reliable. It's always going out. It's always causing their videos to buffer, and that's where you're getting all the complaints from. People saying, "Oh, it doesn't work. It's always freezing on me. It's always doing this and that." And then you get the people with good internet scolding them, like, "Oh, it's probably your crappy internet." Yeah. Well, yes, that's the point. That's what I've been telling everybody. DAZN requires the person using it to have reliable, fast internet. That's just the way. That's a requirement that you pay for, and then on top of that, you got to pay $9.99 for DAZN. And then if you want the ESPN Plus app, you pay like another $10 for that, and then you fork out $10 for this other app, then you fork out $10 for this other app. You add up all that shit, you might as well just pay for a cable subscription, all right? But that's besides the point. Leave that aside. So that's number one. It's people need to understand it. Now, little by little, people are getting more reliable internet, and but that's going to take time. It's not going to happen during the contract of Canelo. It's not going to all get fixed in the next 5 years. It's going to take a decade or longer. And that's fixing the inadequate internet speeds, right? But then when you get to rural America, well, that is decreasing in terms of population. Let's say it's 40% of the population 10 years from now. That's still 40% of people, even if it's 35% of the population, that you are freezing out. And then I haven't even got into the whole areas that do have good internet and all that, but they don't want to watch it on their phone. They don't want to watch it on a tablet. They want to watch it on their TV. And they don't have a smart TV. Somebody has to buy a $2,000 smart television for a 65-inch now just to watch boxing? Well, it's worth it. Well, maybe to you. And not everybody just has that money to fork out. Well, just buy a Fire Stick. So now you got to buy a 40, 50, whatever it costs, Fire Stick. Okay. But let's say there's people that do that. And then on top of that, on top of all that, you have, people that are just old school, and it's just something that they just don't want to do, and they're not going to bother. All right. They're stuck in their ways, and they're just not going to watch the fights. That's just the reality, right? No matter what, let's say it's a small percentage, it's still a missing audience that you have. Boxing it's not exactly in a position to be losing, viewership. Boxing isn't in that. We're not in that position. All right. Let's talk further about the app. Even if you live in a good area with great internet and it works perfect for you, the shit's like in standard definition, right? It's not the best quality picture. All right. You got a 4K TV, you're not going to get it in 4K quality. You don't get it in the HD quality that you get with like satellite TV or even cable. You just don't. It's a lower. They got to fix that. And even if they fix it, to get it in high quality and all this, you need even a faster internet speed, and it creates another problem from the outset. But anyway, so you got that issue, right? A lot of people they're not too fond of the app. Right? Maybe they got to get used to it. You name it, right? But now begs the question: are they going to make profit on Canelo here? That's a big question. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart, and they're in business. They don't want people to fork out $9.99 a month. That's assuming it stays at that price. That's number one. Right? Assuming it stays at that price. And let me say this. I need to say this. I live in an area where I get over like 100 megabits per second, right? It's not the best, but it's not horrible, right? I don't like streaming. I don't. I don't like streaming at all. I like just turn on the TV and just go into this channel and I'm done, right? That's me. So I know somebody left a comment. I hate streaming. I do not like online streaming. If I'm going to pay for content, all right, separate from the internet, I don't want to. I don't want a requirement of the internet to be an issue, right? That's me. If I'm going to pay you for a service, I don't want to also pay, like, I don't want to my internet that I pay for to be a requirement. All right. I'd rather just pay for a direct line that has nothing to do with my internet connection so I can watch it. But that's me, right? I have my own reasons for that, but that's me. And it's far more reliable. It's far less likely to go out on you and buffer on you, and you get a much better quality as well. Right? With the money that the DAZN has guaranteed Canelo, right? I mean, this guy, he's already gotten paid for this Rocky Fielding fight. They gave away free downloads, so they're doing it. They're making an investment on this guy. Okay, doing an investment on this guy. I don't know how this is going to play out for them. I still stand firm that they're going to lose money. Right? I think they're going to lose a lot of money with this Canelo deal / Golden Boy deal. Right? I think there's an understanding that there's an investment here, but Canelo's got to give them, like, I think we did the calculation. It's about 7 million subscribers per fight. I mean, it's moving forward. That's just that isn't going to happen. It's not. Shout out to Retro Boxing and Documentaries, aka Blood Boxing. Says, I have not seen the numbers or heard anything, but the DAZN is not living up to the hype. It's not. Like, oh, we're here to change boxing, and then they give us another fucking mismatch. But this time, you have to stream it on the internet. Okay. Same shit, different face. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is, folks. It's all bullshit. I mean, I'm not saying everything the DAZN. I mean, it's the DAZN isn't doing anything bad, and I just want to make sure people understand that point. Okay, nothing wrong with having the platform of the DAZN and all that, but to me, we're not in a place yet where it should all be under streaming because it limits the number of the audience. Like that's just the truth. And I've already gone over that. Right? For anybody that came in late, although no official numbers were released, I did see some people put out figures like 26 million downloads, which is not true. All right. But the DAZN was the #1 downloaded app, free app, on the 15th of December, right? Like, they were making a big deal that it beat Facebook and it beat YouTube and all this other shit. The part they leave out is the fact that it's just downloads for that day. It didn't like surpass those apps in terms of downloads, right? Like Facebook has over 1 billion downloads. There's only so many people that could download it on the 15th of this month, right? And now it's beating the Zone. Ever since the 15, it's been more people have been downloading Facebook than the Zone, right? So it had more downloads on one day. And you had all these apps, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this proves that Canelo's a megastar." And they go, like, I think it proves that there was some traction. There was, and people downloaded it, and they were curious, and it was for free. You didn't have to fork out any money. A lot of people had issues signing in, by the way, but that's another story. But at the end of the day, I think it did about 3 million downloads, something like that. Probably less than that, but nothing too outrageous, nothing too big, right? Nothing crazy. But these are people that downloaded it for free. I hope people understand that. Haplotype in the house. This is the whole app movement is going to be a big hit to people's pockets. CBS now trying to change the people watching shows online. When it's all done, people are going to be paying way more than cable. Well, and I agree. Disney's about to do their own thing too. They're going to pull out all their movies and shows from Netflix, and they're going to do their own thing, right? So Disney movies, Disney shows, all that, boom. You're going to have to fork out $10 a month for that, right? Eventually, Viacom's going to do the same thing. Oh, MTV shows and VH1 shows, Nickelodeon, blah, blah, blah. Boom, boom. Fork out $10 a month for that. Eventually, it's going to be more expensive than what people prefer cable right now. That's true. It's like, what's the point? It's just becoming a new marketing scheme. And the point people keep missing is, let me just remind you that you're also paying for your internet. That's the part people just they miss. And they're starting to put caps on these internet on the internet. Like after 1 terabyte, if you want unlimited, you got to pay another $50 a month or something like that. This whole apps are the future, right? Now, what are you going to do? You're going to pay for CBS and ABC and Fox and fork out $5 here, fork out $10 here, fork out $10 here. You're going to have all these different apps, and instead of having it in one place, you're going to have all these apps, and then your phone could have so many apps, and you're going to have to get phones that that are more expensive now, and this is crazy, right? They're already starting to do studies that people are actually paying more. Like they think they're paying less, but they're actually paying more for all these apps to watch their favorite programs than they would with a good deal with DirecTV or with cable, right? Well, what happens is instead of getting it all in one bill, on the 5th of the month, they pay this app. And on the 13th of the month, they pay that app. And the 18th, they pay this app. And on the 10th, this app. And then on this day, your internet is charged this. And you pay an extra $20 a month to have the adequate speeds to be able to stream shit. So, they add that to your internet bill. And then if you want unlimited, they charge you another $50, because you stream so much and that you go over the 1 terabyte in your household. And well, there you go. Right? If you're saving, it's not even that much. And if more than likely you're spending the same. All right. I remember a couple of years ago, right? I always said, man, I wish boxing had an app, right? So we could watch some boxing fights. But I meant to watch fights that are not broadcasted on TV. All right, that's what I meant. I didn't mean take all the fights and put them on an app. But that's me. All right. That's right, Diesel. The Zone would have been perfect for the right fighters. Retro Boxing Documentary says, I am a subscriber to the Zone. People in the UK just don't want it to admit that they were wrong about the Zone. It did better than 10,000 than the 10,000 people that may have downloaded it for AJ. Well, the Zone, I like their Super Series and tournament they're doing, and I think there's nothing wrong with the app. My only problem is we're not 2018 just isn't the year to replace television in terms for sports. It's not. If it was, the NFL would have already had its own app and giving the middle finger to everybody that broadcasts their games. If it was, the NBA would have done the same thing. That's just the truth. Another thing I haven't even got into yet is a lot of these cable lines get old over time, right? So at some point they're going to have to replace them. So you might go through a 5-year period where you don't have the best speeds. And I mean, this is not the Zone is not it's not the answer right now. Half of the country lives in rural America. Another quarter of the country just doesn't have the adequate speeds of internet to watch the Zone reliably. That's just the truth. That's just the reality. What they should have, if the Zone was a channel on television, so you could watch the fights there, and you have the second option of streaming as well, then that would be great. I think ESPN does that with Monday Night Football. They have it on ESPN, and you can also stream it, on the ESPN app, their ESPN Watch application. See, that's different. That's the answer right now. The answer right now is not, let's just get Canelo and just put him on this damn app, and that's the only way you could watch him. I think that's a horrible idea. Now, a lot of things I'm going to say now are going to sound very stereotypical, but it's the truth, okay? Many of Canelo fans, right? I'm not going to say a majority or anything like that, but a good amount of them, right, are like farm workers, Mexicans that work in the fields and stuff like that, right? They get their green cards to come work in the U.S. and they're working like in rural areas, and they love watching boxing. Well, now they can't watch it because it's on an app, right? Like, do you understand? Plus, if you keep it every month, you're paying $120, right, for this app. So don't let, like, a year you're paying $120 plus with the tax, it's like 130, close to 140. So with taxes, depending what state you live in, right? So spare me this whole we got rid of pay-per-view. No, you're still paying for it. You're forking out $130 a year to watch Canelo fight, and you can't even. If you decide to stay subscribed to it, you don't control whether or not you pay for the fight. Like, you're paying month by month. Like, if the reason you're watching it is for Canelo, it's worth it if you want to watch the other fights. But I got to be honest, a lot of people like my uncles, so they don't care about the other stuff. They just want to watch the Mexican fighters. Like, keep it real, right? And then we didn't even know what type of quality fights is Golden Boy going to give us. Like, what type of quality fights are we going to get? Plus, we're also, if you want to watch boxing on Showtime, as a boxing fan, you got to fork out money to watch that, right? So I'm just saying. By the way, let me take this moment here to give a big fuck you to Oscar De La Hoya, right? Oscar De La Hoya going around, right, telling everybody that pay-per-view is over, and I want boxing, okay, on the way college football and pro football is on, and even basketball and baseball and the world on the World Series. So I want it on network TV. I want 18, 20 million people to be watching boxing. To me, that's the ideal goal and where we need to get boxing to, right? That's the direction we need to go to. If we're going to argue that we need to get away from pay-per-view, right? That, or let's get more fights on ESPN and things like that. Fox Sports 1. And if you want to tell me that's a good way to get out of pay-per-view, good. The problem that I have with Oscar De La Hoya is that he became a multi-millionaire because of the pay-per-view model. Oscar De La Hoya benefited from the pay-per-view model. He benefited from that. And I'm not even saying there's something wrong with that. I'm just saying he benefited from that. And so did Canelo. Canelo's been on pay-per-views for as long as I remember. And now, after just finishing having a pay-per-view fight a couple months ago, they're coming out and telling everybody pay-per-view is dead. And this is how I know, okay, he's low-key fucking hating, right? Because he told everyone, boxing's over. Nobody wants to pay $75 anymore. Well, was it? That just coincidentally, that's how much the Wilder fight cost. All right, it might be just a coincidence. And I understand that he's trying to push the DAZN app, but he's coming off as a hater, right? That's how the lawyer is coming off to me. Like, since we're done with pay-per-view, we don't want anybody else to have pay-per-view now. The DAZN is the place to be. Fuck you. All right, how about that? You're still making people pay, right? You can argue it's less, but you're still making people pay, right? $10 for an app that's going to give you, it just depends like how you value it. If you love cricket and want to watch an MLB show and you find the other fights worth it, then maybe it's worth it for you, right? So whether the $10 is worth it or not, it depends on the individual, right? But $10 a month for what is essentially one channel, that's kind of what the DAZN is a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of money, right? So the value of that just depends on the individual. But the fact is, you're still making people pay for it, right? Like, it's this idea, like the term pay-per-view has been perverted. If you make people pay to watch it, it's pay-per-view because you're paying for the view, right? But anyway, that's not even my issue with De La Hoya. The issue I have is that he's going around telling everybody that the pay-per-view model is dead. I have an issue with not the message, but the messenger and the methodology that he's going towards here, right? They're just moving to a different platform that charges. That's all. That's all they're doing. That's what's happening right here. And I also have an issue with the timing. Like, right after Fury Wilder have a pay-per-view fight for the heavyweight championship, just the weekend after that is not the time to be telling everybody paying $75 is not the way to do it now. The DAZN is the future. This is not the time nor place to do it. All right? Now that you want to get off the pay-per-view platform, all of a sudden, you know, you want to help or contribute to taking food off the table for somebody else. I just don't like that, right? Right? So it just came off as low-key hating here. And he kind of tells on himself, right? I mean, what other pay-per-views out there that was worth $75? Like, which one? It happens to be the only pay-per-view that was $75, right? And by the way, ironically, just earlier this year, De La Hoya was going around telling everybody, oh, he should leave Al Heyman and them. If Wilder was with me, I would put him on a pay-per-view and he'll be a pay-per-view star, he said, right? Just earlier this year. Now that Wilder comes out, he has a fight that's going to do close to 400,000. Remember that, right? People keep saying 325. Those are the early numbers. That's not including digital buys, like from a PlayStation 4 and stuff like that. Okay? It's not including papers that haven't downloaded through remote control orders yet. And the trending always goes up. It's going to be close to 400,000. Right? At $75 a pop. What Oscar needs to learn how to do is just stay on his own fucking lane, is what he needs to do. If Oscar De La Hoya stayed in his own lane, right, less people wouldn't get on his lane and make fun of him. They wouldn't bring up the pantyhose. They wouldn't bring up the coke. They wouldn't bring up the kitchen utensils or none of that. But he likes to get on other people's lane, and I just have an issue with that. All right. No, now the way to do it is not by having to make, and here's the part that gets me, right? It's one thing if you say, I think they should come to the zone, and no, it's what he says. It's how he says it, right? Well, the problem is, making people pay $75, like shut the fuck up. All right. Holy shit. Like if people are being forced to fork out the $75. Well, why weren't you concerned about what people were paying for, Oscar, when you were selling fights on pay-per-view and you were giving us these fucking terrible undercards when we were paying $75, for your fucking Golden Boy fucking pay-per-views? Why weren't you concerned about it then? Why weren't you saying, oh, really? We're going to make you guys pay $75 to watch Canelo fight. Making it seem like anybody who sells a pay-per-view fight is a terrible person, right? So I have an issue with the messenger. Just earlier this year, I would have Wilder on pay-per-view. Like all of a sudden, now that Wilder wasn't a pay-per-view, right? All of a sudden, he has an issue with anyone who sells fights for $75, right? He just sold one, not that long ago. And you have Canelo, same thing, right? Yo lo hago para mis fans, para que no paguen $75. Like shut up, right? He signed with DAZN so his fans don't have to pay $75. No, he didn't. It's not true. You signed with DAZN because they offered you hundreds of millions of dollars. Don't. Who are you bullshitting? So DAZN has this messaging now, right? You see Eddie Hearn doing it. De La Hoya's they have like an anti-pay-per-view message. Like, paying for a fight. Ugh. Puh. Are you shitting me? Come on. Oh, I like how De La Hoya thought nobody would catch what he meant by we're not going to make people pay $75. Right after the weekend of the Wilder fight, right after, this is it's the only pay-per-view anywhere that was $75, right? It's insane. But anyway. So now they're pushing this narrative because let me tell you my thing, right? I was listening to Boxing Wave a couple of weeks back, okay? And I just have a big disagreement with him here, right? Because he said that he didn't order the Wilder Fury fight because he's against pay-per-view, and he made that clear, right? I'm technically against pay-per-view too, right? But right, I believe as boxing fans, we need to pick our battles, right? Like Wilder Fury was not the time to boycott pay-per-view, right? That just wasn't the time. That was not the right time to do it, all right? It just wasn't. boxing is in need of a megastar right now that's not named Mayweather, so we could move the fuck on from that chapter, right? That's just the truth. That's just the reality. And there was no other platform on anywhere else for Wilder and Fury to make the type of money that I believe that they deserve. Right? These guys deserve the money they made. They're taking a risk. They're fighting another top heavyweight. It's a competitive fight. It's not some bullshit fight like you saw on. I mean, you get what you pay for. You got a Canelo fielding for free on the DAZN. Well, that's a crap fight you got, right? So at the end of the day, unless if CBS came out and said we're going to pay Wilder and Fury, even it was a little less than that, $7 million a piece to fight for free on our network, then I would have been right there with you. I would have been, oh yeah, well, I think they should do that. But nobody's offering them that type of money right now. Boxing has a lot of things it needs to fix. More important than getting out of pay-per-view is getting the best, fighting the best. That's just the most important thing. That's just more important than your pay-per-view boycott. Okay? It's just, to me, it is. It's far more important. Supporting the best, fighting the best fight is more important than your pay-per-view boycott. All right? Just a disagreement. By the way, I've already made this clear, but since I'm sure some of you haven't got to those videos yet, let me save you some time, okay? And I said this on the first video I did, right? For all you haters out there. And I'm not just talking about the De La Hoyas and the Eddie Hearns, and they're all about, paying for a fight. Like a bunch of fucking hypocrites, right? But anyway, I'm talking about all the fans and the Eddie Hearn fans and just all these haters that are coming out saying, oh, the fight was not a success, the pay-per-view, right? 325,000, ha! It didn't do good. Why? Look, I know the guys are impressed when AJ sells. How much did he do? Like 800,000 in one of his last in the UK. But let's say $1 million, right? They only cost like $20 over there in the UK. They're just $20. That's it. That's all you charge for your pay-per-views. Wilder Fury was 75. Right? And that's for household. It was just one person standing in front of the TV. But my point is, it's essential to understand that, number one, I do believe Wilder Fury is going to be close to 400,000. Well, when it's all said and done, those are the numbers that are going to be put forth. For everybody out there that are saying he didn't do Mayweather numbers, you're wrong. You are wrong. What do you mean? Like, you're wrong. And this is how you're wrong, right? That means he would have outsold Mayweather on his first pay-per-view. All right? And don't give me this Fury bullshit. Nobody knew who the fuck Fury was here. Very few people knew who he was. Okay? More people knew who Gotti was. Gotti was getting all this hype and shit back in the day. Right? He would actually get like over 2 million viewers on HBO and shit like that. Right? So don't give me this bullshit that more people know fucking Fury. Who the last fight he had here, he was at the fucking, when he fought in Madison Square Garden, it was in the theater. It wasn't in the big house. In the theater. That's where he fought. Right? So when you say he didn't do Mayweather numbers, well, if we compare Mayweather's first pay-per-view with Wilder's first pay-per-view, when it's all said and done, they're either equal or Wilder outperformed him. All right? Against a less-known opponent in the U.S. Now, we're not even counting the UK pay-per-views. Because we don't count those $20 pay-per-views. We don't get credit for those. Okay, like AJ fans over there. Oh, AJ. AJ sold over 1 million with Klitschko at $20 a pop. Okay. Meaning every one pay-per-view that Wilder Fury sold, all right, every one, all right, I mean, it's over a little, like 3 point something, but let's say three. It's three pay-per-views in the UK. The fight's going to do almost 400,000. Multiply that by 3. And these are just honest figures. Let's say it ends at, let's say it just stays at 325. That's almost 1 million buys in the UK. Well, you guys think that sounds impressive or some shit? It doesn't. Because at the end of the day, what matters is the money that comes in. Plus, Fury Wilder did over 5 million at the gate. You guys could talk all day about how it didn't sell out all the seats. The seats were expensive. All right? I don't care about those nosebleed seats that you can't even see. You got to take binoculars to the fucking fight, okay, to even watch the fight. You guys can't even see the fight up there in the UK. You can't see it from those nosebleed seats. And you pay $20 for it and shit. $15, $10, whatever the fuck you pay. Eddie Hearn doesn't release those gate numbers, so we don't know how much these stadium fights. Okay, let's compare gate numbers. All right? Want to compare gate numbers? Let's compare it. No, but there is no buts. All right? Anyway. So when Hearn comes out and tells people, well, 325,000, that's not good whatsoever, right? What the fuck is he talking about? That outperforms any Joshua fights in terms of revenue made, possibly even the Klitschko fight. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? You're not going to win this battle, all right? Oh, but in the U.S., you guys even admit that boxing is not as popular in the U.S. as it is in the, like. Yes, we say it all the time. Boxing is not the number one sport here. I don't even think it cracks the top 10. Maybe it does. I don't know, right? Neither does soccer. Now, so what? We're still going to host the World Cup. Why? Because there's money here. That's why, all right? At least now there is. I don't know. After Trump's done with this country, I don't know what we'll have. But as of right now, okay, all right, we're number one, right? In fact, California alone, the economy of California alone is bigger than the economy in the UK, all right? So for all you guys who come out and be like, oh, Andre Ward only sells in California. Well, California's economy is bigger than the UK's economy, all right? So why don't you shove that up your ass? How about that, all right? So technically, Andre Ward being popular in California is more impressive than Frotz being popular in UK, for example. Technically speaking, right? But anyway, with that said, we don't have to dive in too much into that. The final figures haven't come out yet. They're still counting them, right? And the longer they take to put out the final figure, the higher it's going to be. All right. They've already put it out by now. If it's going to end at 330,000, right? They would have already put that number out. So just keep that in mind, right? So for everybody that came out, oh, it didn't do Mayweather numbers. Like well, well, it depends how you say it, right? I think it's fair to say that Wilder has another 6-7 fights on pay-per-view to see whether or not he does, what Mayweather was doing at that point. We'll see. But in terms of his first fight, I think he's going to be more successful. We'll see. Plus, I think revenue-wise, I think it's already doing better. We'll see. Right? And Stacks 85 in the house. AJ 10 in the house. Right? AJ said it did do Mayweather Berto numbers. Well, there you go. We'll see. It hasn't gotten there yet, but we'll see. Man and Water in the house. California says #1. All right. He hopes the zone does well. Netflix for sports would be great. Look, I'm not necessarily agreeing with that, but there's, as of right now, it isn't the time right now, right? 2018, this isn't that time. Maybe for you where you live, maybe you get the unbelievable internet and you're good. That's like 30% of the country. Everybody else just isn't ready for that right now, right? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with that, guys. Thanks to everybody that joined me live. Make sure you take a moment, thumbs up the video, share the video, and I'm out of here. Peace.